And we're back once again at Judges chapter 19, verse 29. And when he was come into his house, he took a knife and laid a hold on his concubine, and divided her together with her bones into 12 pieces, and sent her unto all the coasts of Israel. And it was so that all who saw it said, There was no such deed done nor seen from the day of the children of Israel came up out from the land of Egypt unto this day. Consider of it, take advice, and speak your minds. Notes. The closing chapters of the book of Judges picture the moral darkness that settles down upon a nation or a church when the Bible is disregarded and men follow the religious and social teachings of their own minds and hearts. The general sense of the whole nation was to call a national council to decide what to do. Well, at least, and despite his cowardice, the Levite had succeeded in arousing the indignation of the 12 tribes to avenge this terrible wrong. And terrible and despicable it was. Verse 20. Then all the children of Israel went out, and the congregation was gathered together as one man from Dan even unto Beersheba, with the land of Gilead, unto the Lord in Mizpah. Notes. Mizpah seemed to have been a national meeting place, and as well the phrase unto the Lord could mean that the tabernacle was brought here from Shiloh. Read verse 26. Anyways, verse 2. And the chief of all the people, even of all the tribes of Israel, presented themselves in the assembly of the people of God, 400,000 footmen who drew sword. Notes. A pretty big, mighty gathering right there. Verse 3. Now the children of Benjamin heard that the children of Israel were gone up to Mizpah. Then said the children of Israel, Tell us, how was this wickedness? And the Levite, the husband of the woman who was slain, answered and said, I came into Gibeah that belongs to Benjamin, I and my concubine, to lodge. And the men of Gibeah rose against me and beset the house round about me by night, and thought to have slain me. And my concubine have they forced, and she is dead. And I took the concubine and cut her in pieces, and sent her through all the country of the inheritance of Israel, for they have committed lewdness and folly in Israel. Notes. Now, this should show you just how rotten things have actually gotten. How painful it must have been for the Holy Spirit who inspired all of these writings to have to record such vileness. Keep in mind that these were the children of God behaving this way, and it's not good. Verse 7. Behold, you are the children of Israel. Give here your advice and counsel. However, there is no record that they sought the Lord, at least at this time, which would prove to be a disaster. The men of Israel were shocked at the fruits of the flesh in Gibeah, but they were blind to the activities and power of that same principle of evil within themselves. They were filled with anger because of the conduct of these men against a Levite and his wife, but there is no record of their sense of the terribleness of this sin against God and of the evil idolatry which at the time existed in their midst, and so it is presently. A sin against God is lightly regarded, but a sin against society is mercilessly judged. Ooh, that sounds familiar, CNN. Verse 8. And all the people arose as one man, saying, We will not any of us go to his tent, neither will we any of us turn into his own house. Notes. In other words, they're saying that we're not going to go home until due punishment has been afflicted upon Gibeah of Benjamin. Verse 9. But now this shall be the thing which we will do to Gibeah. We will go up by lot against it. Notes. Now the word lot could actually refer to the Urim and the Thummim. However, if this in fact is the case, it doesn't mean they asked the will of the Lord in the matter regarding whether to go or not, but rather who would go, and that would prove to be a disaster as well. Verse 10. And we will take 10 of the men of 100 throughout all the tribes of Israel, and 100 of 1,000, and 1,000 out of 10,000, to fetch victual for the people, that they may do, when they come to Gibeah of Benjamin, according to all the folly that they wrought in Israel. So all the men of Israel were gathered against the city, knit together as one man. And the tribe of Israel sent men through all the tribe of Benjamin, saying, What wickedness is this that is done among you? Now therefore, deliver us the men, the children of Belial, which means worthless, which are in Gibeah, that we may put them to death and put away evil from Israel. But the children of Benjamin would not hearken to the voice of their brethren, the children of Israel. Notes, it is believed that they did not ask properly, but irrespective, Benjamin's response was totally wrong, and they should suffer dearly. They would suffer dearly, along with the balance of Israel. Verse 14, but the children of Benjamin gathered themselves together out of the cities unto Gibeah to go out to battle against the children of Israel. Notes, you can just see the devil smiling right now because the children of God are fighting against each other. Kind of reminds me of the Spanish Inquisition, among other things. You basically have a civil war between the people of God. Anyways, verse 15. And the children of Benjamin were numbered at that time out of the cities 26,000 men who drew sword, beside the inhabitants of Gibeah, which were numbered 700 chosen men. Among all this people there were 700 chosen men left-handed. Every one could sling stones at an hair breadth and not miss. And the men of Israel beside Benjamin were numbered 400,000 men who drew sword. All these were men of war. Notes, in other words, these people were very proficient in fighting in wars. Verse 18, and the children of Israel arose and went up to the house of God and asked counsel of God and said, which of us shall go up first to the battle against the children of Benjamin? And the Lord said, Judah shall go up first. Notes, now I said that word which very, very loudly to get your attention. Once again, Israel did not ask the Lord as to whether they should go or not, but as to who were to go. And that would prove to be a big disaster. Verse 19, and the children of Israel rose up in the morning and encamped against Gibeah, and the men of Israel went out to battle against Benjamin, and the men of Israel put themselves in array to fight against them in Gibeah. And the children of Benjamin came forth out of Gibeah and destroyed down to the ground of the Israelites that day 22,000 men. Notes, now why would the Lord tell Judah to go forth to the battle, and then they would lose this great number? Well, had the children of Israel acted at the beginning as they did later on in verse 26, they would not have suffered these two defeats of verse 21 and 25. Their planning without God was just one of the fruits of that fallen nature which they shared in common with the men of Gibeah. It is true that after they had made their plans, they prayed, but only after the plans were made. There is instruction in this for believers for all times. Now, before the tribes were fitted to judge evil in others, they needed a sharp discipline to teach them to judge evil in themselves. So dead in their souls had the people become that they never thought of asking God how the matter was to be dealt with, nor were they conscious that they themselves were guilty of the sins which they cried out for divine wrath. It was necessary, therefore, that they should learn a deep moral lesson, for God cannot give victories to man's natural wills. And we must pick up in Judges chapter, chapter 20, verse 22. Thank you very much, and God bless.